What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of my top 10 series. And on today's top 10, I'm going to be going to the top 10 ways you guys can get cheated in Yu-Gi-Oh! Before I want to get to the top 10, I was going to say I came from seeing fucking Civil War. Movie was fucking amazing. Spider-Man was kicking ass. Had me laughing throughout the whole movie. If you guys seen Civil War, post in the comment section down below. Tell me you guys' thoughts about it. Alright, cue the intro. Alright guys, so the top 10 ways you guys get cheated in Yu-Gi-Oh! The reason why I'm making this video because I feel like it can be very beneficial to a lot of you guys because I've experienced a ton of cheating in my time while playing this card game and other card games. So starting off with number 10, I got on my list stacking. Stacking is the most common way you can get cheated in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you guys don't know what stacking is pretty much where your opponent can either organize their deck to draw the best hand they can possibly want to turn one, or when you're giving them your deck to shuffle, they can look down. This is why you never want people to look down when they're shuffling your deck. They look down, shuffle your deck, and they arrange cards to their favor. So if they know you're playing, let's say for example, they know you're playing heroes, they look at your deck while shuffling and they shuffle all of your mass changes, or your hero lives to the bottom of the deck, so you get a shitty hand going turn one. So stacking had to be on this list number 10 because it's one of the most relevant forms of cheating. Everything on this list is not going to be pretty much in any specific order, so stacking is on this list number 10 for that reason alone. I'm going to list at number 9, life points. Now, life points is another way your opponent can cheat you. This is another reason why judges say write down your life points or have your own calculator, because I played games plenty of times where my opponents try to have their life points, and you'll notice when you get them damaged, they don't take off the life points. You have to keep telling them, hey, I just hit you for 18, mark it down. And they will mark it down. Or if you guys are both keeping life points damaged in check, I've had instances where players try to tell me, life points is 3,000. I'm like, no, I hit you for 1,000 last turn, it's 2,000. And we argue back and forth, and if you don't have everything written down, set in stone, you might get just cheated out of victory. I've heard players even losing at events because of getting cheated out of life points because the opponent gave themselves an extra 2,000 to play for cards like Solemn Warning and etc. So keep track of your life points, guys. Coming to this at number 8, slow paying. Now, a lot of players might be thinking, well, slow paying is not cheating, but technically it is. There's a lot of players who will get to the table. They use time to their advantage. They get to the table 1 minute before they can get a game lost in a big event, play slow as hell, and then once they play slow as hell and beat you game 1, or you beat them, they side in a lot of cards to take advantage of time, like burn cards and etc. So that way they can gain advantage of their opponent. People would do this on purpose, so you have to be on the lookout for people who try to slow pay you on purpose. A ways to figure this out is just people who keep looking at the time, who keep looking at one card in their hand over and over like they're going to play it, knowing there's no other plays. And people who keep looking at the graveyard when they have no card in their hand. Because people will literally do that. They'll look at their hand, look at your grave, don't make a play. And they'll do that for 5 minutes, knowing they don't have a play. So keep on the lookout for that, guys. So I had to have slow paying on this list at number 8 for that reason alone. Coming to this at number 7, drawing extra cards. Now, this is funny because I've seen a lot of players while playing, they'll try to draw cards really quick, which is another reason why when you're playing somebody, I recommend always say how many cards are in your hand every other turn, and keep track of their hand, because players will cheat you. They'll draw those extra cards and they'll keep it in their hand clumped together, so you won't never notice. Another way you can prevent that is by having a dice. So if you know your opponent has 5 cards in their hand on their turn, place a dice for 5. Then when they draw, place a dice for 6 and etc. So that way you can keep their track of their hand, so you won't get cheated for them to draw extra cards. Coming to number 6, I have playing really fast. Now, playing really fast is another way of people can cheat you, because by playing really fast, they try to make you forget their moves and do things like, which is going to lead to my number 5 reason of way of getting cheated. But they play really fast and they do it for the sole purpose of you forgetting their moves so they can do an illegal play, which is my number 5 on this list. And by them playing really fast, like for example, you normal summon, special summon, do these crazy combos, and they try to get an additional normal summon, and that's just not cool. So be on the lookout for people playing really fast. You see somebody playing you really fast at a local event or a regional YCS, tell them, hey, I know you want to play the game, just slow down, and announce all their plays in detail. Number 5, illegal gameplays. Now, This goes into the playing really fast because people will play really fast from number 6, and then they'll transition into the league gameplay by getting extra normal summons, by trying to, let's say for example, synchro with an XYZ monster. I've seen it happen before, or do illegal synchro plays to bring out Quasar, and then they'll pretend like, oh, they forgot. No, they didn't forget. They were just trying to cheat you and be little fucking bitches about it. So be on the lookout for people like that, guys, because people will cheat you like that. Coming to this list at number 4, I have having friends watch you. So, and if it's mainly at like regionals and YCSs, when people are on the losing end of the stick, they typically have their cheating friends will stand behind you, which is the reason why a lot of players would not like to have people stand behind them while playing at big events, especially at like events with the caliber like nationals and YCS. They'll have their friends stand behind you and look at your hand, and then they won't have anybody standing behind them. So when they look up and look at their friends will give them a hand gesture saying, don't do this, don't do that. And it works, which is another reason why judges, if you've ever been to a regionals, tell you, get out of the halls, let the people play their game, get away from them. So be on the lookout for those people's guys. If you see someone standing behind you, ask them to leave from behind you. If they refuse to simply get a judge, there's no point to get into a fight with somebody over a Yu-Gi-Oh event, unless they disrespect you, of course. Coming to this list at number 3, I have buddies with judges. Now, this is something that rarely, actually, I'm not going to say rarely happens more often than you think. Now, this is another reason why I will always recommend people to go to the head judge if they feel like a ruling is not right. But me personally, I've had, when I played Naruto, one of my buddies was in Naruto. We were all judges at some point in Naruto. And sometimes when we go to events, we'll have a buddy judge the event. And not gonna lie, the buddy will give us rulings in our favor, knowing the ruling was wrong because they wanted us to do great. Not saying it was wrong, and I don't agree with it, but hey, if your friend's gonna help you out and give you the extra edge to help win an event, take it. And this same thing applies to Yu-Gi-Oh! People will do that when going to regionals on YCS. So if you know someone calling a judge over, and the judge come immediately over like that, and you don't agree with the ruling, please call the head judge, because the head judge typically is the older guys who don't really associate with the younger people. So they will have their buddies be the judge and rule in their favor. Once again, like I said, I've done it before with my team. Not saying it's right. I mean, I haven't personally done it, but I had teammates who were judges, and when when I called a judge, they came over and ruled in my favor. Not saying it's right, but people would do that shit. Coming into step number 2, steal your card during the game. Now, another way I've seen people get cheated at big events is stealing cards from their opponent's deck during the game. So, say for example, game 1, your opponent's going back and forth, and you play a card like Big Eye or Snatch, even though Snatch is not legal, or if you look into your opponent's graveyard, you try to steal your opponent's card and put it in your sleeve. Now, people do this a lot at big events because, for one, if you're playing game 1 and you know the person's better than you, you can steal their card. So that way, for game 2 and 3, you can be a douchebag and say, hey, where's your deck? Can you count your deck out for me? And then if they have a missing card in their deck, you can call a judge over and get them a game loss. And a lot of players do this, so be on the lookout, guys. When you're playing your deck, make sure that, this is another thing I recommend people, when you have sleeves that are not common. Like, don't get the solid blacks and the solid whites. Get something different like a blue or pink or orange, because it's gonna be harder for your opponent to steal your cards during the game if you guys have different sleeves. In addition to that, just make sure you pay attention to the field, because people will be on some bitch shit like that and steal your card and say, hey, can you count out your deck for me, because your deck looks a little too small or a little too big, and you can get a game loss for having a legal deck. It's fucked up, but that's what it is. And last but not least on this list of 10 ways you can get cheated in Yu-Gi-Oh! Opponents having cards in their lap. This is another reason why, well, I ain't gonna say another reason why, but this is the main reason why if you see players play and they drop cards, they raise their hands up like, hey, I dropped a card, let me get this real quick, I don't want to get a game loss. People will have cards in their lap. They'll drop a card on purpose. They'll have cards, just like Panda Keep did in the anime, on their lap or off their sleeve. So when they drop their one card in their hand, they'll put the card they had in their hand in their pocket and pull out a different card from their pocket to put it in their hand to gain the advantage over your opponent. It's not fair, but people do that shit and they will use it to their most advantage to win a game. Now, with all that being said, I know there's plenty of other ways you guys can get cheated, but I'm gonna leave it up for you guys to post it in the comment section down below. And tell me, guys, your cheating stories in Yu-Gi-Oh! How have you guys experienced it, and how have you handled it? Me personally, I'm hip to the game. Like I said, I've been playing card games for 14 years now, and I done seen it all, so I kind of know how to not to get cheated. And I'm not standing down for nobody. If I feel like somebody's gonna cheat me, I'm gonna either cheat them back or get their ass DQ. So, with all that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, get a big thumbs up support. As always, I upload 3 times a week. On Mondays, I do general discussions. On Wednesdays, I'm doing top 10s like you're saying today. And on Fridays, I do my Explain series where I explain decks and archetypes in detail. I do this video because I truly believe in helping you guys become better players. And I also believe in you guys helping me become a better player. Chris from Team Innovation signing out. Peace, guys. I'm saying that deuces. Sit the cards working at 2, test it out. And if it doesn't work at 2, you cut it down to 1. And once you cut it down to 1, you test it out. And if it goes down to 1,